All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We've got a packed agenda. It's great to see so many folks coming in to the cafeteria here for this meeting. We also have a number of people tuning in via Zoom. That is always an option, by the way, especially as we get into the winter months and whatnot, and as we continue to plan out these meetings. That if you can't be in person, we're happy to have you on Zoom and provide any updates that we can month to month. So thank you very much. So just in case this hasn't gotten around, this is my personal contact information. That's my email address. It's updated from last month, my phone number. And I'm my name is Patrick Joseph. I'm the coordinator for long-term recovery and rebuild on behalf of the Dixie Fire Collaborative. The Dixie Fire Long-Term Recovery Group, known as the DFC, Dixie Fire Collaborative, is a collaboration of nonprofit, faith-based, local, state, or national organizations that work together to share information and resources that can help address the needs of individuals and families affected by the Dixie Fire. The stated mission of the DFC is working to fulfill the unmet needs of the Dixie Fire survivors and helping to rebuild the communities of Greenville, Indian Falls, Canyon Dam, and Warner Valley. All programs shall support this mission and purpose, and all who work for or on behalf of the DFC shall understand and adhere to this purpose. Thank you. All right. So I will give a few updates as it stands right now from some of the things that internal to the DFC, the steering committee that we've been working on of late. Got some big news. Last Monday, it was an opportunity to work with the Greenville Rancheria. So this is a proposal that's been in place for about a month. The Greenville Rancheria it's many things. It provides medical and dental services as well as forthcoming pharmacy services. It also has a fire department, not located at this facility that you see this artist rendering sketch of. This would be the medical facility, but the Rancheria represents our Maidu tribal community here in the Greenville area. They lost their facility as a result of the Dixie Fire, and they are planning on building a 16,000 square foot facility, two floors, that will provide those medical, dental, and pharmacy services. In addition to those, they're also providing office space that would be available for the county for some of their other offices, like behavioral health, the Veteran Services organization, and a few others that could be able to drop in on a weekly basis and provide support to community members. Roughly 80% of their clientele at the Rancheria are non-native personnel or families and people from Indian Valley. In addition to that, the Rancheria employs roughly 40 to 50 full-time and part-time employees throughout the year. So it's a large anchor here in the community for all the things that it provides and moving forward what it can in the future provide. So it has a multifunction purpose. Tyler, if you could go back one. The steering committee opted to commit roughly $600,000 to their build. The Rancheria came up against some funding, some gaps in their funding to support this. They are working on a PG&E settlement and some other funding that may come from FEMA, but there's a lot of uncertainty around that. That uncertainty is causing their planning and implementation of their build to go. They would like to break ground next summer. And they have, plans. They have a lot of the details ready to go, except for $1.2 million. The $300,000 in grant funding and the $300,000 in gap funding that you see there is a total of $600,000 that the DFC is contributing. Another $600,000 is being made up by the North Valley Community Foundation, which is the DFC's fiduciary. So between our two entities, we're trying to assist the Maidu and the Rancheria with achieving this goal by next summer. So that's kind of hot off the presses, and that just happened this past week.
Very good.
Yes, sir. My next bullet there, $7.8 million Plymouth County settlement. So what's been reported in the Plymouth Sun, if you've gone to some Board of Supervisors meeting, you may have heard about this settlement. This is $7.8 million. That was a suit that the general counsel for Plymouth County filed last year against PG&E. The settlement, still trying to kind of figure out times and dates and how this all went down with the Board of Supervisors. However, a date of January of 23 is when it was reported that the county did settle with PG&E and then received this money. This money is still sort of being held, and it's been much discussed about how and where to spend it. The DFC is advocating that this money is able to be devoted directly or indirectly to programs, policies, and projects that would support recovery and rebuild. Kind of makes sense, right? So lots of discussions with county employees and how that's going. And then of late, let me just grab something here real quick. The county produced a presentation, and this will be going up on our website so you can see it, but it describes some of the ideas and plans that they have regarding this $7.8 million. So mine's got highlights and pencil markings and things like that. So I'm going to get a clean copy so we can put it up on the website. I have it here today if you'd like to page through it. Right now, these are ideas. There's nothing committed. There's nothing. This is all speculative of how this money can be spent. At the Board of Supervisors meetings coming in November, specifically November 7th, and then the following Tuesdays, this will be up for discussion some more. At the last meeting, Supervisor Hagwood, let me back up. The County Accountability Officer, Deborah Lucero, she recommended that having a vote on this, on the proposed outcomes of the money, where and how to spend it by November 21st. Supervisor Hagwood indicated that they may want to have more discussion on it. So there will be opportunity for public comment and things of that nature around this $7.8 million at the Board of Supervisors meetings. Some of the ideas are, an example would be that the county lost 3 buildings and the property associated with it here in Greenville, like the library, the town hall, which also housed the fire department, and the sheriff's substation. The substation and the fire department, the vision, right, is to have sort of an emergency management center at the location, at the temporary location that you see down there on 89. So if there's funding needs for planning or implementation of the overall build, is that an opportunity for the county to devote some of this money to? Maybe, maybe not. You'll hear more about concepts with regard to a community resilience center and the potential for a library to be there. The county lost its library. It's temporarily housed right over in the next annex here on the Greenville High School campus. Is there potential for some of this money to be devoted to that? There's definitely potential, right? So the point of all this is that we're kind of at step one of at least an acknowledgement that this money can be committed to the things that would mean recover and rebuild fulfillment in not only here in Greenville, but other parts of the burn scar and other parts of the county that can devote to bringing things back in a post-recovery world. PG&E update. All right, so I am not the PG&E rep. However, I did get some information from our regional PG&E community outreach representative, and he shared some items. Let me back up real quick. So we will have a local PG&E representative. If you remember Natasha Beener, she worked in that capacity until August, and then PG&E was in the process of hiring a new representative. That process is almost complete. Eddie Alvarado, who is the regional coordinator, he indicated that this following week, that person will be named and in the driver's seat as our local representative. So follow-up wise, you can take your questions to that person. No, I'm kidding. I'm happy to answer any of your questions, but we will have a new local representative real soon. So that's good news. So with regard to some of the construction, the construction that you've been seeing all summer long, that will be ramping down as a result of anticipated weather conditions. You can see some work that will still continue throughout next week on Alta Camp Road, Crescent Street, and Cheney Street. In addition, they've just started to do some digging around Hideaway Lane, and they're waiting on some county permits to do some more work over there. Along Highway 70 down around Bucks Creek, they're going to be wrapping that up by the end of the month. And then the work that they're titling the upper 70 corridor, they're looking to complete that no later than December, weather permitting. The work on Highway 89 between here and Canyon Dam, as it relates to PG&E, Caltrans might be doing some stuff up there, but as it relates to PG&E is complete. And then the work along Highway 89, really from the T down through Indian Falls, that'll be completed by the end of the month. So if that helps your traffic planning and your commute at all. And then the yard over there at Wolf Creek will kind of be going in hibernation mode come winter weather is what they're anticipating. So there'll be less traffic in and around. I guess that's the key takeaway, less traffic in and around the Wolf Creek road area for your planning. Okay, so there had been some questions with regard to billing that had come up in the last month with regard to PG&E billing. There've been some comments around, gosh, I received a bill that's larger than it normally is, and I called PG&E or I talked to a rep and they said, well, that's we're billing you on anticipated usage, and then we'll kind of prorate it once we do a meter check. According to Eddie, that is incorrect. So if that is occurring, you need to call PG&E immediately to communicate that. And that this is something I'm also going to bring up with that new local rep, just to make sure that that person is aware of this and to try to get some survey data on whether or not that's happening widespread. Kind of came up a couple of times, but that's something to be aware of. On the issue of my bill is going up as a result of undergrounding, of the underground cabling, and also PG&E settlements, insurance payouts, and things of that nature. The explanation there is that the investment that PG&E is putting into undergrounding, it does cost, it has upfront costs. Those costs over time, though, based off of the scale of their project in Northern California to do the undergrounding, and also the impact that it has for less maintenance, as opposed to the power lines being, going from pole to pole to pole that are susceptible to fire, weather, wind, snow, and so on. They feel that the repairs necessary that they've always done historically on that cost savings over time, not now, over time will be conferred back over to the consumer or the utility user, because there's less money that they need to pay for general repair and maintenance. Vegetation mitigation, that's also something that they feel that they can reduce that program by double-digit percentage points, that they don't have to clear vegetation away from power lines that are now underground. So these are all things that are forthcoming. It's not happening overnight, but something to keep in the back of your mind with regard to being a utility user here in California. Okay, post office. Spoke to the superintendent the other day. He said he wasn't gonna take it to the bank, but he said at the end of November, the post office will be complete. Everything will be done, ready to go. It'll look like a fully operational post office. Whether or not it's staffed appropriately, whether or not it has stamps and all the other things, it's not up to him. But the building will be ready to use. Okay, Ms. Sherry, thank you very much.
Good morning. Here we go. Okay. Those are our original deposits. I'm sorry, I'm cold this morning. And the biggest increase in our account this past month is interest income. We posted another $6,699, and most of it is on the DFC collaborative fund in that interest income. So there would be our total income with our new interest income number. And next slide, please. We have had no funding of any new grants. This is the original grants that were funded. So that total for our grants of $331,851 is the same. We haven't, and that's the rest of the grants, and we haven't funded anything else since the last meeting in September. Expenditures, we haven't had any new expenditures since the last meeting in September as well. Okay, and so our current account balance in the DFC account is $2,364,561.52. Here's where our change has occurred. We had the steering committee meeting last Monday, and so we still have our commitments to the historical cleanup of the historical buildings downtown. We're still committed to our communications technician, our roundhouse rebuild gap funding. And there were 2 meetings held to go over the long-term recovery information, and we will be paying that to the historic Taylorsville Hall. That was one of the decisions that was made in September, October. And then, as Patrick was talking about the Greenville Rancheria project, our contribution to the project is the $300,000, and then the gap funding to be repaid is another $300,000. So our total commitments have now jumped to $1,578,563.06. And when we, next slide, please. When we divide that by the total, our total income, we have now committed and or spent 52% of our money. So the funds that are still available for the Dixie Fire Collaborative is $1,463,411.52. So that was a big jump. We were in 30% something in September. So we're investing in our community and wonderful projects. There is a sub-account, which I mentioned in September, and this sub-account is for the DFC coordinator for the Dixie Fire Disaster Recovery. This is a 2-year commitment, and it's a 2-year budget. So North Valley Community Foundation put it in $145,600 to our account, and the internal grant or transfer is money that the DFC steering committee approved, the $99,450 that was transferred to this sub-account for the coordinator and the operating expenses. So this account I don't have access to. I can see a statement every 3 months. So I probably won't be giving a lot of updates on this since I won't have the information until they produce a statement. And this is part of the statement. The activity on the account, as you can see, is the deposit of the money, and then so far it's just salaries and wages and payroll taxes. And North Valley Community Foundation is the employer of our coordinator, our DFC Disaster Recovery Coordinator. They're his employer. So that's the only thing that's happened so far, and that was the statement up until the end of September. This is the operating budget, and this is for 2 years from August 23 through August 2025. And the personnel are the year 1, year 2 salaries for the coordinator. The $43,680 is for the benefits and payroll, which is 30% of the wage total, and that's being covered by the DFC, our account. Then the operating costs for rent, utilities, telephone, office supplies, advertising, marketing, travel, meals, mileage, that's $55,860 for that 2-year period. And that's also being covered by the DFC with the $99,540 that we put into this account. And the good news is, on that $99,540, we're earning interest on that at the same time, which is going back into the original DFC fund. So that's the sub account. And that's my report for this month. Thank you.
All right, Nancy Presser has a report from Plumas Rural Services.
Thank you. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Hey. Oh, I like the jazz hands. Yes, all right. All right. So Plumas Rural Services Disaster Case Management Program would like you to know that we are offering heating assistance to people, fire survivors who are involved in a disaster case management program. It's either Plumas Rural Services or North Valley Catholic Social Services. Those are the two funded nonprofits that offer disaster case management services for people affected by the Dixie Fire. So obviously you can see you need to be enrolled with a disaster case manager. We have an application that you can find at Plumas Rural Services website. Don't ask me what that is. It's probably plumasruralservices.org or something. Like, sorry, it's not in my mind. Or you can ask your DCM, or you can ask myself. Bridget's with me today. Cindy Joan is with us today from North Valley Community Social Services. We're taking 2 rounds of applications. So we're doing one right now. It's open until November 30th, and then we're going to close that, and then we'll open it up again in February. It's just because of obviously resources. We're offering wood, propane, or electric heaters. So it's just, gives us time to have resources, dole them out, get more resources, dole them out to people who are needed. And then we also highly recommend, if you do qualify for the HEAP program, it is the county's program for subsidized heating. So they also offer wood, propane, kerosene, and electricity. So they'll help you with that. And if you have any questions on our heating assistance program, to see me, Bridget in the back, Cindy or Joan, and we'll go to the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so we wanted to update everybody about the Cal OES travel trailer donations. So if their first time hearing about this, when we had the fire, Cal OES, which is a state entity for Office of Emergency Services, gave us 13 or 14 trailers. Somebody can correct me in the back. And we housed 14 people who weren't able to get into a FEMA sponsored program for direct housing. So we actually had 14 people in travel trailers living on Wolf Creek Road. Thank you, Kira King, for allowing us to house those there. But Cal OES only sponsored that program for, I think it was a year, maybe a year and a half. Okay, I got some nods. And then they transferred it to the county. So Plumas County took on ownership and kind of rental payments for the property and use of these trailers. And then that program, the county's like, this is a huge expense for us and we need to transfer this on. So their initial idea was, let's just kick everybody out and we'll have these 14 trailers. And Plumas Rural Services stepped in and said, you can't do that. We still have 8 people housed in these trailers. We have 8 people and we did have 6 trailers that were empty. So with lots of, great teamwork with partnerships in the county, Plumas Rural Services was able to take on those trailers. We were able to keep the 8 people that were housed in those trailers. We have moved all but 1 off of 240 Wolf Creek Road. They have all found permanent temporary housing in the valley or somewhere else. And then we've been able to donate some of the empty trailers. I think we've donated 3 so far to, Dan's thinking, to 4. We've donated 4 so far of the empty trailers to people who are potentially homeless, that did not have a place to go, did not have a living situation. We're either dry camping or just still renting or still sleeping on somebody's couch. So we've been able to donate 4 to people who are homeless. And so right now we're making sure that those trailer donations go to people who are survivors of the Dixie Fire, who have no other home to go to. It has to go through a disaster case management program, whether it's through Plumas Rural Services or North Valley Community Catholic Social Services. And they have to demonstrate a need for that temporary or semi-permanent housing. There is an issue of homelessness. So we're really proud of that. And thank you all for that support on that. Okay, next. All right. Plymouth Rural Services disaster case managers are sponsoring or helping out at the trunk or treat. We're supporting Indian Valley Academy's trunk or treat. So it's on Halloween from 5:30 to 7. Come on out. We're going to have a scary car for kids to get candy from. We'd love for you to bring your children or grandchildren or whoever you have out to this event, and we'll have some fun with them. And next, where? Sorry, where? Thank you, Nan. Where? Across the street from Indian Valley Academy in Taylorsville. So by the Grange, right out there, there'd be a whole line of cars with scary, spooky Halloween going on. And then I just wanted to remind everybody about the Community Development Block Grant, disaster recovery. It is a special grant. It's approved for Plymouth County to rebuild homes for low to moderate income property owners. And it's also available to property owners at any income level willing to rebuild a rental home and rent to a low to moderate income. I got some shakes to population. Please speak to a DCM for more information about this. Myself, Bridget, Cindy, or Joan are here. We have some initial paperwork that they've, CDBG has provided us. This is all, let's see, in the works is the best way I'd like to say this. We are approved for these two types of rebuild, and they're grants. They do not have to be paid back. Yes, there's stipulations on what's going to be built and how long you need to stay in it, or how long, if you're using it for rental property, how long you need to rent to an LMI person. But it's a really great opportunity for this county. I mean, especially if you've lost property and you did not have the funds to be able to afford a rebuild, or if you lost rental property, which we know a lot of our community members were landlords. If you've lost that, you could go into this grant and have a new rental property, have a new source of income for yourself. So we're excited about this. And I think that's it for me. Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
And just to confirm, PlymouthRuralServices.org is indeed their website. So well done, Nancy. Tyler Pugh, please join us. Lots to share today.
Thanks, Patrick. So first thing I want to cover, if you attended the August meeting for the DFC, you got to see the students or the summer interns present their work along with one local youth. And if you didn't attend that meeting, it was really powerful. Just seeing local youth stand up here and present their work over the summer. That work was really around what is the vision for the town center. And then that work, basically the interns, 10 weeks of work in which they lived up here, was then built upon by industry professionals from Sarah Architects that we've been working with to refine it into a design guidelines, a guidebook for our community of how and what we're kind of looking at rebuilding. This was done through an immense amount of community engagement, through talking with community members, businesses, going to Chamber of Commerce, Rotaries, things like that. And so it really is a reflection of what we heard from the community. And this guidebook is intended as a general direction setting with a little bit of bumpers on the side of it. It is not going to be county adopted. It's not going to be design standards, which would be another regulatory process that we would have to go through to get things approved. What it is really setting a vision and some bumpers for our community of really like how, where, and kind of what we're looking at rebuilding within the community. And the goal with this was really to start to remove some of the what is called decision fatigue. With any of our landowners, there's so many decisions you have to go through, from literally speccing colors to what does it look like in the doorways and windows and setbacks, and what is the program, or is somebody building out something similar to this? Is it not? Does it fit into the town? Are people going to be mad? Are they going to be happy? Our goal was to kind of eliminate some of those decision fatigues that many of our community members are going through as they think and hopefully go through the process of rebuilding. So this design guidebook is on the back table over there. It is 70 some pages long. Hopefully it's done very simply so you can walk through it. If it's not, please let us know where we can make it easier to read, things like that. So we have it in the back there. There's 2 physical copies. We're hoping to keep those here because printing costs kind of add up really quickly. We've also have a sign-up sheet if you'd like us to email you a copy of that. It is in draft form for the next week to give space for our community to offer additional feedback on that. So there's a QR code, which is one version. You can basically pull that up on your phone or mobile device. Or if you want to sign up on the sheet, we will go ahead and email you a version of it so that you can offer feedback to us to make sure that we're headed in the right direction. We're open to all types of feedback, good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, just let us know. So those are digital versions. We'll have a physical version of it in the DFC and the Potter Handy office, which is 127 Crescent Street, which is in Greenville, in which the exhibition is set up there. So we'll put it out there. So the guidebook will be there in physical. So if you want to go into the office and offer any comments, even on Post-it notes, or just write it down, we'll pick those up and gather those as well. Our goal with that is to finalize the guidebook by the end of this month and then be able to have that readily available for our community members that are in the process of deciding or in the process of rebuilding. This work, the summer internship work, was actually incredibly powerful for a lot of community members. I heard a lot of people say just how just amazing it was to have people in the community for longer durations. They were here for 10 weeks. And being active participants in the community. One of the individuals, Suvan, I'm going to call you out, and she's really nervous now. Suvan is working with myself, Elemental P, and we'll be continually working with the community as we move forward into the next year. So she's delightful. Get to know her, ask her questions. Definitely tell her whatever you think about what's going on. And then the next thing I want to say is we've continued a partnership with the California College of the Arts. We have 2 classes here. Many of the people in the audience, you won't recognize their faces because they're from the Bay Area and they're up here visiting. They're going to talk about their work here in a short little bit. But really welcome them and take the time to go down to the spot, which they'll be presenting their work. And again, presenting their work with the idea of getting feedback from the community. They're here to listen. That's the goal. And so with that, definitely let them know. For those on Zoom, with the student work, unfortunately, we don't have a chance to do a digital interface, but for the planning or the guidebook, design guidelines, go ahead and add your email. If you would like a digital version of that, go ahead and if you can send Taylor in chat or Jane in chat your emails, we'll collect those and then we'll send those out. So again, if you're on Zoom and would like the design guidebook, go ahead and send your email in the chat box. If you're watching this in the future, we hope you are. If you weren't able to attend, go ahead and email me, and anyone's available to do that. It's Tyler, Tyler, at LMNOP, design, DESIGN, Inc.com. Again, Tyler, Tyler, LMNOP, at LMNOP, designinc.com. Please reach out to me about the design guidebook, and we'll put that in the chat box as well, so people have that. Thank you very much.
Right, and as Tyler had mentioned, the California College of the Arts, Jeanette Kim is joining us. And some other folks too. That's great.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here and to meet all of you. These are our students gathering here today. My name is Jeanette Kim. I'm a professor at California College of the Arts. In a second, I'll explain why our studio is called Property in Crisis. Taylor, if you can go to the next slide. So as Tyler said, this is the 5th studio design studio from California College of the Arts to work with Greenville. And it's been so meaningful for us to kind of fold knowledge that we gained from one semester to the next. And so here in this slide, you see some of the students who were involved last year sharing what they've learned with our students now. So we're trying as much to kind of build on this knowledge and get deeper into our relationship to your community. Next slide, please. So our this particular studio is designing workforce housing here in Greenville and Canyon Dam. Next slide, please. And what we've heard from Tyler is the fact that workers here, people who work in mills, in shops, in ranches, in rebuilding this community, we've really heard that workers are totally important to the life, the culture, and the economic viability of Indian Valley. But we've also been hearing that the housing market traditionally, as it works, doesn't tend to support that kind of workforce housing. So that's the goal of our studios, to imagine architecturally and spatially how that kind of housing can be possible. So if you don't mind just skipping through the next 4 slides, I want to save more time for the students to share their thoughts, and keep going, please, until there's a slide called housing. One more. There we go. So as architects, we're looking into ways in which housing design can support sociability, kind of gather community together and connect neighbors to each other within downtown Greenville and Canyon Dam. We're also looking at ways to, for example, have an ADU next to an existing structure in a way that works for all those neighbors. Next slide. To make this possible, we've also been studying how zoning regulations and zoning laws sometimes enable that and sometimes restrict it. So next slide. To understand that, we've identified 3 different zoning types that can influence the creation of workforce housing. So on the left, you can see what's called an R7 residential zoning type. And that's basically a zoning law, a neighborhood that can have single family housing on it, but can also have like an ADU, another accessory dwelling, so that you can maybe have passive income from one unit or multiple neighbors living together. And that's one great way to support workforce housing, we believe. In the middle, we can also see multifamily residential areas. We're especially looking at some sites along Wolf Creek. And then on the right-hand side, you see some areas in Canyon Dam that can support both recreation, commercial facilities, as well as housing. I also want to warn you that we, as a student group, we've been identifying particular sites around the area that we think are really great places for this kind of housing to take hold. But we also know that you might also have different plans for these sites. So please don't think that our designs are kind of trying to tell you what should happen on the site. Instead, we're trying to find really great opportunities and kind of build ideas together to then start a conversation with you all. So this is very speculative. Next slide. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about property, because in order to make workforce housing possible, affordable, and viable in a short amount of time, we've also been looking at questions like, where does funding come from? Who's managing and owning this property? Who's inviting residents in and kind of supporting them along the way? So in some ways, you're going to see from us new ideas about how ownership might be structured in a way that can support people. Move forward, please. So we're about halfway through the semester. We still have about 6 weeks left, which means that we are really eager to hear from you, your ideas about how housing and home means something to this community. So to make that possible, the students designed this game. We've set it up over at the spot, and we'd love you to come play it with us. The game is called Find Your Way Home. I just forgot. For us, it's just a way to start a conversation. We just want to hear your ideas about what matters to you in home. So to set the stage for that, I've asked each of the students to describe one question that they hope to talk to you about to start the conversation. So to start this off, we'll start with Alex.
Hello, I'm Alex, and I want to know how the youth are healing and mourning emotionally, and what we can do for them to stay in Greenville.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie. I've been learning about how important oaks are to my new community, and I'd like to know how oaks may support recovery.
Hi, I'm Frankie, and I want to understand the role local companies like timber mills have in creating jobs and housing here in Greenville.
Hi, I'm Dipti. I'm here to know what ways do you see to help to open door for housing ownership and what businesses do you see in Canada?
Hi, I'm Sebastian. I'm curious to know who you nurture in your home and in your community, and how you see this ritual of care as a valuable aspect in your daily life.
Hi, I'm Salo, and I'd kind of just like to hear stories of what it was like growing up here and maybe some special memories that you have, and why this place is special to you enough to be here to be so invested in the future of it.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and I've been interested in how home ownership can become more accessible.
Hi, my name is Javier. A lot of people have been using their homes to rent out space for local visitors. My question is, how can you integrate those people into your community?
Hi, my name is Chloe, and I want to know how you feel about bringing in businesses that are centered around outdoor recreation, and how it can benefit both tourism and the community.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'd like to learn how seasonal workers in Canyon Dam can pool resources, share knowledge, as well as labor.
Hi, my name is Tasha. I would like to know what kind of relationships would you like to have with your neighbors?
So we, the students, are very excited to be here, and there's a lot we want to learn from you all. And a ton more questions to ask. So if you guys have the time, please come down to the spot and check out our work and have a conversation with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Frankie. Thank you.
Wow, team, that was great. And it's a lot to look forward to, and I'm sure folks will love to chit chat with you. And those are some great questions. I was really scratching my head. So well done. Nice work. We also from CCA, we have Lisa Finley and Mark Donahue. Donahue. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you all for inviting us once again to Tyler and to the DFC for their hosting. I'm Lisa Findley, half the teaching team with this group of students in a studio. My colleague Mark Donahue was here last fall, and he had a family commitment this weekend, but sends his regards. Can we have the next slide? Thanks. So our studio is continuing what you might remember from last year, where we're actually proposing specific buildings, speculative, of course, on particular sites within the community. So next, please. So as you might remember, in the fall of 2022, this particular type of studio was looking at the four corners. In the last spring, they were looking at the Community Resilience Center in this other location. So this semester, we've chosen two other sites, just to kind of continuing this brainstorming. And one is at the sheriff's substation and the adjacent lot. And we're calling it the Indian Valley Welcome Hub, and we'll talk about what we mean by that in a minute. And the other is what we're calling the Greenville Maker Hub, which is at the spot and builds on some of the things that are already going on there. And again, this is completely speculative. We talked with Tyler a bit. We've talked with our students. You may recognize there's some people who are returning here in this group because of a commitment and passion for Greenville. And again, emphasizing speculative, like what could it be? One of the great things we do as architects is envision alternative futures. Okay, next, please. So the programs are pretty straightforward that the students are looking at. What are the uses of the buildings? And the list there, I won't read it out in the interest of time. And so we're calling the Greenville Maker Hub. Next, please. And then the Indian Valley Welcome Hub. So the Maker Hub is more community focused for the community. And the Welcome Hub is a little more outward facing. We're imagining it hosting the Chamber of Commerce, a kind of information center for the Valley, for people who are tourists who arrive. we're really interested in this question. Our colleagues in the other studio are proposing about what outdoor recreation opportunities there are and how those might be hosted or encouraged in a place like this. Both programs have a significant public space in them. And the students will talk about those significantly at the spot. Next, please. So these are very much, thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
Should be.
Sorry, can you hear me? There it goes. Okay. And so again, these are proposals in progress. And we're going to ask the students, we've got one image of the things they're thinking about. And we're going to ask each team, they're working in teams of two, sorry, Miguel. Working in teams of two to think about this. So let's start with the Makers Hub. Next slide. Ben, who you all will recognize, right?
Maybe not all of you. It's good to be back. I'm Ben. My partner Guillermo couldn't be here this weekend, so I'm going to represent the two of us. Our project is called Reweaving the Warp and Weft of a Community. The question that we're asking ourselves is, how do we support the reweaving of a community to help repair the holes left by the Dixie Fire? Using the warp of activity and camaraderie laid down by the spot, our proposal weaves together craft workshops, tool lending library, a community kitchen, educational and maker spaces, and local market stalls, while housing families and artisan residents. Thanks. Next slide.
Hello, my name is Nathan.
My name is Emmanuel.
And our project is called Framework. So following devastation, new beginnings often arrive, providing an opportunity to rebuild and repair what was lost, but also to start anew.
By building spaces for creation, collaboration, living and education, the project unites and invites the community to grow together as one. Framework provides an inclusive and comprehensive hub for making that is open to all. Next slide, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mason. It's my second time here.
My name is Yipeng.
Yeah, so our project is about transforming materials and empowering the community. And the exchange market makers help gather the green belts in the place of creativity to transfer the materials through local artisanal craft while teaching the next generations. Functioning as an exchange point, here the Maidu baskets and craft culture is preserved, and the community cooking is host, workshop and tools center are loaned.
All that combined with the marketplace and apartments serves as a catalyst for the revitalizations of Greenville's community and economy. Next slide.
So going to the idea of the Welcome Hub, and you'll see three very different proposals about the substation structure here. And again, these are just us, like, what could it be? Next, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aaliyah. I'm Hannah, and our proposal is called Stitch Together, a patchwork quilt of Greenville. And our thesis statement is the Indian Valley Welcome Hub stitches together a diverse set of programs under one roof, from the Chamber of Commerce to outdoor recreation, housing, and a brewery. The Welcome Hub represents the richness of the Indian Valley and welcomes newcomers. Next slide.
Hello, my name is Andrew Justin.
Hello, my name is Marcelo, and our project is called Legacy, Past, Present, and Future of Greenville.
In rebuilding and repairing Greenville, our project creates 3 distinct spaces to share Greenville's heritage, resilience, and legacy within and beyond the town.
Our design gathers the community to celebrate Greenville's past, anchor the present, and invest in the future to nurture the rich culture of the town and ease the transition of Greenville from adversity to fortune.
Hey, everybody, my name is Miguel. Thank you so much for hosting us today.
My name is Kianush and our project name is Gather. The Indian Valley Welcome Hub provides a place where the community of Greenville gather to contemplate their resilience while moving forward to a thriving future.
The Welcome Hub acts as a beacon, inviting locals and visitors to celebrate the rebirth of Greenville, supporting its homegrown economic.
So one more thing to say about all of these projects, the second stories, so they look big, right? The second stories are all housing. On the Welcome Hub site, we have single room occupancy studios that might in some future become a small hotel. And on the Maker Hub site, we actually have family units of 2 to 3 bedroom. So we would love to talk with all of you about our ideas, again, speculative. And we also are set up at the spot and look forward to having conversations, again, good, bad, ugly, add this, take that away, all of those things. So thanks very much.
But once again, yeah, thank you to our students from CCA and tremendous contributions there. And a lot to look forward. So thank you for presenting today. Now we're going to take things over to Zoom to our friend Kimmy with the Department of Toxic Substances and Control. And Taylor's doing the wizardry right now. And Kimmy has an update for us with regard to the program that has recently wrapped up. Just one moment.
Thank you, Patrick. Good morning, everybody. I represent the Department of Toxic Substances Control. I am here with John Bystra, who is one of, we're actually 2 co-project managers for the lead cleanup work in Greenville. And I also have Jessica Mendoza here, who is our outreach coordinator. Next slide, please. So we're here to talk a little bit about the status of the DTFC cleanup. So this slide gives you a little bit of an idea of where we're at. So fieldwork is complete, yay. All the excavation and backfill work was completed at the end of August. We also had taken some drone footage, so we're going to share that with you in a little bit. And we have an action memorandum that just started its public review period yesterday. It's a 30-day review. And I'll talk a little bit about that in one of the next slides. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, keep going. Sorry. So there's a couple of documents that we're working on. One is the letters that go to the property owners. These are mailed to the property owners. It gives you information on what was excavated, what was backfilled, and what the concentrations of lead are on the property. So you should be receiving this if you haven't already. Hopefully we're shooting for getting all of them out to the property owners by the end of next week, or at least by the end of the month. So when you are submitting your application for a permit with the county, make sure to take this with you because it will give them the information that says that you went through the program and that our work is complete. The other document that we're working on that we don't send out unless you ask for it because it's got a lot of information that probably nobody cares about. And that's the completion report. And we're trying to get those out for each property by the end of December. Next slide, please. So action memorandum. So this 30-day public review period is set up for the action memorandum. In the world of environmental remediation cleanups, an action memorandum represents what's called a decision document, which is the document that describes what the remedy is going to be when you are trying to clean up contamination like lead. Typically, this document is generated before you start the work, and a public review process is provided so that people can comment on your selected remedy. In this case, because we were trying to move very quickly, We called it a time critical removal action, which allowed us to move quickly and get going, getting all the pieces in place, and we're allowed to do the decision document at the very end. So this is kind of like out of sequence of most decision documents, but it just gives you the information associated with the remedy that we selected and all the information that kind of went into that selection. The review period is from October 19, which was yesterday, through November 20th. Can you click on the public notice for me, please? So this link here will take you to the public notice. This was mailed to all of the property owners that were identified with potentially elevated concentrations of lead. If you go down to the bottom where it says information repositories, can you zoom in on that a little bit? So we will have 2 local locations that you can review the action memorandum at. One is going to be the Greenville Elementary School Library, which is just out the door and around the corner from where you guys are meeting in the cafeteria. They are open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 3:30 to 7:30 and Saturday from 11 to 3. So they're actually open today if you want to go take a look at it. We put 3 copies there for anybody interested. We also put 3 copies at the legal offices. So Patrick can kind of help you out with that. That's only open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. They are at 127 Crescent Street. If you like online, this has the link to it. You can get it from EnviroStore, which is DTSC's online database for documents associated with a particular site. And you can also drive, if you're so inclined, all the way to Sacramento, and you can ask to see the hard copy. Next slide, please. That's a link to the action memorandum. I'm not going to really open it up because it's not that interesting to look at, but it's there if anybody is interested in getting it. We posted it on our DTSC website and also on the Fire website, so you can access it there. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I only posted the public notice. I don't think I posted the action memorandum, but you can get to it from the Dixie Fire Collaborative website. Next slide, please. And then one of the things that we did at the end of our work, once we were finished with all of our work, was we went out and we took some drone footage. So that's the link to get to it. So if you go to the top left, so this is the top left lets you zoom in and zoom out. Swipe, yep, click on that swipe. Swipe allows you to look at what it looked like before we started, which was around July, August of 2022, and what it looked like when we were completed. The slide on the right, the post remediation slide, has little cameras, and if you click on any one of them, it will allow you to look at 360-degree drone footage of that area. There you go. So you can just kind of rotate around, and you can even look directly underneath you. And I think you can zoom in and out a little bit, but I always have a little bit of difficulty with that. And it just kind of shows you what the properties look like when we were done. And even some of the properties that we weren't working on, it shows you what was going on with some of the construction. So they got it on a good day when there was no PG&E work in the streets. And so everything looks pretty unobscured. So that's some pretty good footage there. I think that's the school. Yeah, so you can just go around and click around if you're interested. If you're not, no big deal. It's just a resource for you. And this is on TSC's Greenville website. Next slide, please. So that's our presentation for today. If you're interested in any information, this is the DTSC cleanup program information. We are the Department of Toxic Substances Control. Our email is dtsc_greenvillesoil@dtsc.ca.gov. We have a phone number, a toll-free number, and a website link. And then if you go to the next slide, that's us. So Jessica is our outreach coordinator, and John and I are co-project managers. If you have any questions, we can answer them at the end of the meeting.
Great, thank you very much, Kimmy. We appreciate it. And of note, the final action memorandum, I have 3 copies over at 127 Crescent Street. I did bring 2 here today, so if anybody wants to page through them, I do have to take them with me so I can put them back on station over there. But yeah, they're there for your reading pleasure. So next up, we have a Caltrans project updates. Dave Moore and Michael Orguro. Of note, the Greenville Streetscape Committee provided refreshments today. So I just wanted to say thank you to the Greenville Streetscape Committee. And more importantly, Leanne Schrammel for really coordinating planning, and Marcia Roby for also baking. Thank you very much. It kind of goes hand in hand with our next presentation, but thank you.
Dave Moore, I'm the Caltrans District 2 Director located out of Reading, and we cover this area up here in Plumas County. I do apologize, I don't have slides set up today. There's a little bit of. What's that? Oh, sorry. All right. I'll get used to this. So I do apologize. I don't have slides today. There was some technical difficulties that we had. I do have some handouts, and we could make those available to the people on Zoom through an email address. Wanted to give a little bit of update of what we have going on today, as well as a little bit of a project update, and really kind of lay out where we've been this year and where we're going next year with everything. Later today, right after this, we're going to have our ribbon cutting for the landscape project that we did downtown along Highway 89 there. We're pretty proud of the partnership we built with Plumas County and with the Streetscape Committee here to deliver a project that we didn't know was ever going to get funded. And we had a great opportunity through the Clean California program to be able to find some resources to be able to deliver that project out there to kind of clean up all the efforts we've had along the 89 corridor this past 2 years. So we're pretty much wrapping up construction in the entire 89 corridor for the year. We've kind of put closure on our rehabilitation. That's worth clapping. We're not going away though. I know the traffic impacts have been extreme at times, and part of it is we're out there working. We're out there doing the fire repair work. We're out there doing our general maintenance work. We have PG&E out there doing their work in our right of way, which was something fairly new to us over the last couple of years, that this interface we have of trying to underground different utilities, not just power, but we're looking at broadband in the future and some of those other things out there. So a lot of impacts out there this summer. They aren't going to go away. We have paving projects lined up in the future years to help deal with the pavement out there. Unfortunately, these are lining up to be out there, but the fire repair work is basically done. We had to do that in a couple different pieces. The 89 corridor and a little bit of the 36 corridor, we spent about $36 million trying to do that repair work. That's money, unfortunately, we don't plan for. So it takes away our future ability in the future on some of the projects we had lined up out there in the future, but it was needed work to get done. And quite frankly, it's virtually done. We closed out that contract. We do know there's a little bit of pieces in Greenville that, some of the sidewalk and stuff we weren't necessarily able to get to because there's some supports and other things in the way out there. We'll be evaluating that, figuring out how to come back and deal with those pieces when the time's right. The landscape project is complete. There will be, there's a plant establishment period and a warranty period with the contractor, so you may see the contractor back out there replacing plants in the spring if it deemed that the contract that the plants were good enough. If it's some other fault, then we'll have to figure out how to deal with that. But I heard there was a water line break this past week, so we're gonna have staff out there tomorrow trying to figure that out and get that corrected. So we're not going away. So that stuff's being dealt with. Next summer, we do have different paving contracts along Highway 89. I don't have the exact schedule yet, as we haven't hired the contractors for that work. But we're gonna be doing a thin blanket between Greenville and Canyon Dam. That'll help cover up some of that work PG&E has done out there and hopefully make it a nice smooth pavement out there. We have a much more longer term pavement treatment that we're doing south of Greenville through Crescent Mills down to the down towards the Greenville Y. I'm not sure where it exactly stops. And then at some point next summer, we have a project up along Lake Almanor on the West Shore there as well to deal with the pavement. So the bad thing is there's going to be traffic impacts. The good thing is we're going to have some really good pavement out there for the 89 corridor into the future. As I said, I don't have slides. We did bring a couple of handouts. We have a small spreadsheet on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. This is a list of all the projects in Plumas County that are coming to construction, that are in our design process, and then those that we are planning that we haven't got funding for yet, but we're working on the preliminary plans for. Color coded yellow construction, green design, blue in the plans. We also had a few copies of a graphical display where those projects are at. So if you didn't see them in the back there, you might be able to get copies from Michael and Tony. Over here, that map may not be as updated as the spreadsheet we have here. And I know this information is hard to read on a spreadsheet, would have been probably pretty hard on the screen, but the most important thing is it tells you where a project is and it has a contact with each of those projects. So if you're very interested in one of those projects, reach out. We list the project manager for each of those projects there that could get you any information you need on those projects. I do recommend that we actually come back in the spring to the collaborative here to be able to, we'll have better graphical displays, but at that point in the spring, we'll know the schedule of those construction contracts. So we'll be able to have kind of a robust discussion of what is planned for this summer. We'll also have an idea what PG&E and some of our other partners out there will be doing out there in the highway right away. So look forward to that. I did want to close as saying that Michael and Tony over here, they both worked on the landscape project. So if you have any questions about the plant selection, we worked pretty hard with the streetscape committee to get native plants built into the design of that. And I think about 50% of the plants are native plants. There was also constraints we had out there on the availability of certain species, as well as the size and locations and fit for that, but they could help answer any of those questions you might have on that. We will be over there at the ribbon cutting at 1:30, and we will have project staff over there to answer questions, take back questions that we can't answer, as well as we'll be talking about the Clean California program as a whole. We'll have a table over there that could help explain that great opportunity we had to fund that project. We also funded a couple other projects in conjunction with Plumas County. In other parts of the county, we're doing some gateway monuments up in the Chester area, and we're doing Plumas County's doing a little pocket park area there in Quincy. So some good things coming out of that program to help beautify and kind of clean up our right of way out there along the state highway system. So with that, I think I'll close. We will be around into the afternoon. So if anybody has any questions, come seek us out and talk to us. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Dave, and thank you, Caltrans, and look forward to more updates, and I'll get with you when with some of those resources that we can put on our website. We also have before we get to the spot and they're not coming. Okay, we do have North Valley North Valley Catholic Social Services that would like to share some items as well. So just real quick. Thank you, Cindy. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. I know it's been a little bit since I've seen you guys in person, so it's great to see you. As Patrick mentioned, I'm Cindy. I work very alongside Plymouth Rural Services. We're the other nonprofit entity providing disaster case management. I wanted to share some exciting news. Patrick actually was with us. We had a state visit this past week, as well as Plymouth Rural Services. It was a great positive outcome. They are wanting to hopefully extend our program. So our disaster case management program currently is set to sunset in February of 2023. However, they've been so impressed and proud of all the work that the disaster case management teams have been doing. So they are potentially wanting to seek another 6-month extension through FEMA. So it's a huge win. We're super excited about that. So Plymouth Rural Services and us, NVCSS, we're currently working on that data to submit the extension request. So I wanted to share that out because it's a big one, especially when we're talking about the CDBG-DR grant, which will open in the summer of 2023. So hopefully what we're 24, sorry. What we're trying to do, see, I'm living in the present. What we're trying to do is align the disaster case management team to really be along with each survivor throughout the entire process, because it is pretty lengthy. You will have a case manager assigned to you through the state. However, your disaster case manager alongside the construction cost analyst, Dan, they're really going to be the support system throughout that whole process. So that's our goal by doing this extension, which I'm really excited about. The other thing I wanted to promote is we are doing a propane giveaway next Friday on the 27th. We have some flyers. You do need to sign up for it. We have 5 or 7 gallons that we can definitely fill for you. If you need a tank, please let us know. We can definitely purchase a tank for you if you don't have one. So it is an option. We have the contact information. You can call or email us. You do need to register ahead of time. So this way we know what voucher to purchase for you, especially if we need to purchase a tank. So please let us know. It's in conjunction with the North Valley Food Pantry, so the 224 Mill Street, and we'll be there from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So please come out. Again, let us know. Have quite a bit of flyers with the contact information out in the back. So let us know if you have any questions. We are also at the spot this morning. We are right outside of the thrift store. And we have these really cool Halloween bags for kids. It has all the paint, it has all the kits inside. So please come on by and hey, all kids at heart. I'm gonna do one because they're super cute and it's glow in the dark paint. So you can totally use it for the trunk or treat. My idea already right there. I'm like, hey, let's collaborate. So come on by. We have these. We have some awesome toys and a bike raffle as well. And we'll be there till about 3, 4. We'll be there till you guys kick us out. How about that? So thank you.
Thank you, Cindy, and North Valley Catholic Social Services. All right, so we do have share outs today. And yeah, so just real quick. So from the Plymouth County Public Health Agency, this is their schedule for their free flu shot clinic, both nasal and good old fashioned jab in the arm. They'll have the clinic, and I think on the 26th over at the Indian Valley Medical Center down in Hot Springs, and then there'll also be one here on the 7th, here in the Greenville Elementary School, High School, somewhere in this area on the 7th. So if that's more convenient for you, yeah, take a mental picture. It'll be up on the website as well. So we do have some share outs. Dan, right here. Dan Litchfield, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, guys. Dan Litchfield. I'm the construction cost analyst for PRS and then BCSS now as well. I just wanted to update what Sherry's treasurer's report said. We were able to get a youth program this summer called Nature Made. We have a 24-foot climbing wall, and we have gold painting in the creek, and we have rock painting with a local contractor. General mayhem, lots of free range kids getting hurt and sunburned and scratched, and it's wonderful. So we're keeping that going. It does say that it ends in January. We're gonna pause it. Next Saturday is our last one, and then we continue on either May, June, July, or June, July, August. We're not sure. But we are getting a lot more of that kind of stuff going on with the help of NBCF. All the acronyms get jumbled, but it's PRS, North Valley Community Foundation, and the DFC has pledged money for youth programs. And we're hoping to work with IVRPD next to keep that kind of thing going. So that was my update. And then firewood as well. I'm looking for piles, logs. Marsha's helping me out find logs. Jared and Pew, JNC Resources or JNC Logging, they have some cutoffs from their mill. And then Cody Morris with Boss Resources, he's a new logging operation in town. He's got some piles of logs that I've been cutting on. So anybody that want to come out and cut and stack and deliver firewood, let me know. It's just me so far. Thanks.
Yeah, you really sold that thing. Thank you, Dan. Also, we have Matt Fogarty, Crescent Mills resident and member of the DFC steering committee.
Hello, everyone. We recently learned about plans for an open pit mine over in Engels Mine. They're looking for permission for around up to 850 acres of open pit, which would make it the second largest open pit mine in the United States. The Lights Creek runs through that valley, and the initial plans is to use settlement ponds, which are these big ponds where they put the crushed up rock and all these chemicals in there. It's very likely to lead to massive environmental destruction, not just the removal of 800 acres, but the explosions that they're going to use to destroy this land and the dust. It's going to be a big deal. Many of us were unaware of this, and at the moment, the mining company is called US Copper, but actually isn't a US company. This company is seeking to not have local control or local permits for all the mining operations, which are going to last about 15 years. They're seeking to only have local permits for the cleanup, which is what's going to happen at the end, where they're going to come in and put some topsoil, plant a few trees. That's what they're seeking permission for. They're seeking to not to be able to grandfather in the mining rights from Engel Mine. So for those who don't know, Engel Mine in the 1920s was a massive producer of copper. It's about 15 miles that way. And it was all done with tunnel mines. So tunnels, but this is now they're talking about the open pit mine, which is much more environmentally damaging. So the DFC as a committee was very concerned about this. And I think that as a community, we should really start talking about this, because if they get to grandfather in these old rights from the old Engel mine and say it's all continuous, we don't need permission, we're just going to do it, it's going to mean, it's going to be a really big deal for Greenville. They're talking about 350 employees, but these are skilled machine operators, and there's just not that many people in this room who's going to qualify for those jobs. And if 350 people are moving in and there's no housing, unfortunately, that means 350 people are moving out. So we really need to take this seriously for the impact it's going to have on the community, the impact it's going to have on the environment. So just keep aware of this thing that's going on. There's going to be a council meeting, I think December the 9th, where they're going to decide if they can grandfather in these old rights. And if they do, they will not require local permits to do this mine. Anyway, that's what's going on.
Okay, thank you, Matt. And Some of the details provided as it relates to this mine can be found in the Plymouth Sun. There's a story that they've been tracking along, and also you can find more information on the Plymouth County zoning department website, as well as the sort of subordinate website to the zoning commission. That's where some of this initial phasing is being established right now, is with the zoning department. Okay, additional share outs. Yes, sir. Welcome.
Some of you may know me. My name is Jim Graham. I'm the Executive Director of the Transportation Commission. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be in Greenville on Tuesday because we are updating our regional transportation plan. And when I was listening to the students describe, developing a healthy community, a community that respects the heritage of the Greenville area, and I wanted to point out that how the transportation fits into that is super important as well. The connectivity, if you're able to walk to work, is it safe to walk and bike everywhere you go? These are all super important things. And so next Tuesday here in this room, we're having a plan to discuss that. This is the time to talk about your vision for the transportation network in Plymouth County, in your community, biking safely, walking safely, where there are needs. We want to hear from you. We want to incorporate those into the plan moving forward. And trying to make it a more healthy, connected community. So, and by the way, just wanted to point out that in addition to my role as the Executive Director of the Transportation Commission, I also have the fortunate or unfortunate job of being the zoning administrator for the hearing that Matt brought up. So I just wanted to give you some correct information about that while I'm here. The meeting is actually on December 13th. And when I opened the meeting, the last zoning administrator, there was a massive amount of information. I listened to everybody's testimony. I asked everybody to, continue to reach out. The hearing is still open. And I have asked County Council to do a legal review of those documents to make sure we don't want to give any of our rights away. And this is not to permit a mine. This is actually to determine a very narrow legal precedent as to whether or not by law, they have a vested right to continue mining. Whether we like the mining or not is not the subject of this hearing. It's only to determine whether or not under legal principles that they have the vested right to mine. So they have provided us a ton of information. We are going to go through that and make sure that everything that they provided to us, our due diligence, our own fact finding is all going to be done to make sure it's done right. So just wanted to give that a point of clarification for that.
Jim, what time on Tuesday?
I'm sorry, 5:30 to 7:30.
It's Halloween, Jim.
Is that Tuesday?
Yeah.
No, the 24th.
Oh,
It's coming Tuesday, yes.
Oh.
Did I say Halloween?
No.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Graham. Any additional share outs today? Going once, going twice. Okay. Question and answer. So we would ask that those that have presented over the last hour and 25 minutes, if you could come on up, and this is our opportunity to answer any questions that the team out here may have with anything that was presented or anything at all. No, I think just the teachers, or just a rep. If you got a representative, someone that is ready to go. Tyler coming on up. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Nancy. And then I think Teresa Kinney online as well.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. And Mr. Moore, thank you. Yes, Kest.
So for Dave, your chart of projects that you'll be doing broadband.
Start it again.
For those people on Zoom. So Dave Moore, your chart says that you'll be installing broadband in Crescent Mills next year. Can you tell us more about that? Sure. So Caltrans has been Caltrans has been contracted with by California Department of Technology to help them meet their
what we're calling the middle mile broadband network requirements. So right now we have those projects on the books and they've been working with us to try to figure out how to install broadband across the network across California. And it involves about 10,000 miles of network, and it's trying to find it in communities there that we don't have it and put those middle connections in so the last, I'll say the last mile could be developed for that. There is a lot of uncertainty to those contracts of how those contracts are going to be let. So that's the schedule we've been given, but I don't know that it's actually going to take place through a typical contract like we do, or if it'll be a different type of contract, like a job order contract. CDT is also trying to work with other internet providers and other broadband providers out there to try to lease space from them and actually have them do the work and create those partnerships. So a little bit that's up in the air. We definitely by next spring will know a lot more, but that is the goal of the state. The state's committed to building that network out there. And they have chosen to do a lot of that along the state highway system. So that's where we got involved with it. So
do you plan to bring it over to the Greenville?
My understanding it's going to be along the 89 corridor. I don't have that exact mapping with me, but the goal is a completed network that kind of serves all the communities out there. So I can't tell you exactly if there's a project out there to deal with this section in Greenville, or if that's a project that we're going to be looking at one of those internet providers to provide. But the idea is not to have little stubs everywhere. It's to have a completed network.
And I can provide some more information on that, Kest. So if you remember from last month, I provided some broadband information. Not much has changed in terms of public information or where they are in the plan. It's still going along as expected. And what he just outlined is exactly kind of what's expected. Yesterday, there was a meeting on the middle mile funding specifically. So if you went to California Broadband for All, you'd be able to watch that. And it gives a very good update from Caltrans perspective, from DOT perspective, from CPUC perspective, in order of how these things are going. So like I presented last week, excuse me, they are working and they're highlighting some specific areas. I made sure to request for us here in the Indian Valley that we are highlighting from Indian Falls, Crescent Mills, and Indian Valley proper, in order to just get that continuity through the 89 corridor. So it's moving along to plan, but as he stated, there's still contracts that need to be worked out because there's a number of different players in the game of who's getting which contract in which area. That's also why we went with the one Golden State Connective Authority, because they're coordinating this effort in order to get that succinct and systematic way so that the little pockets don't get left out. And as we're seeing across the state of California, not so much for Plumas County, but that is the case where more affluent communities are getting that and getting prioritized. And so for looking through and where we have already connectivity, we're trying to prioritize those areas that don't in order to get that connection. So that middle mile is in fact a middle mile, then to reach out to that last mile destination. So that's kind of the additional update behind what he was saying, and that we as Plumas County are following up on that and getting that through. So thank you.
Additional questions? Yes, ma'am. So the mic's coming your way.
We have two questions. One, Caltrans, how much effort or extra work is going into plowing this mixed up town that we are living in right now? Am I going to be able to get in and out of my street? And I'm sure everybody feels the same.
Okay. Can you hear me? How about that? All right. Caltrans is responsible for the state highway through Greenville. So we will be plowing Highway 89 through that. If you're talking about the individual roads within Greenville proper, that would be a Plumas County responsibility. Now, we work kind of closely with them as much as we can to make sure there's a coordinated effort out there, but depending on if you're talking on Highway 89 or on one of the local streets.
I'm talking the whole town, individual streets. The highway would be one thing, but to get out to it from all the construction and all the different streets that really aren't even finished, but the ones living there need to get out.
Correct. No, I understand that, but that is a Plumas County Public
So you're
Works
not the one, okay.
responsibility.
Thank you. Now, the other question I have is about surveying. There's no mention of that except for the couple of them that said territories. There's quite a few of us that are having problems with PG&E saying we didn't live on this property after 40 and 50 years. And then the county doesn't seem to know anything about it. Nobody's coordinating. And my question is it true that everybody that's building anything back has to have a survey? I didn't understand it that way. If we stayed in our blueprints or footprint or whatever, I didn't think we had to, but it keeps coming back.
Yeah, the typical
That we
process,
have to survey. Everybody has to do it.
yeah, the typical process is to get a site survey for your site to understand where the property boundaries are. And then what we found, I definitely don't represent the county, so definitely go to the county for this for very clear information. But based on experiences, there's a lot of discrepancies between what people thought they owned, what is on county records, and then what the site survey has. This is from 100 years of kind of land swapping, moving, buildings going on top of each other and things like that. So what we found is that there's a lot of just things are not what we thought they were kind of thing. And so we have to go for the site survey is what each of the property owner needs to do to define their property sites. What I would encourage doing is if you have adjacent neighbors to that is work with the neighbors to get the site survey. NST is doing a lot of those surveys out of Susanville is the company, is work with your neighbors to have the engineering company, NST, to do them together is basically it. Because then that will lower the costs and also confirm in the future, basically that those sites are exactly where they're at. There's a lot of just discrepancy in data is basically it.
Is if PG&E's survey is accurate, why is that not sufficient? Why do you have to do another one? Whose are you supposed to obey? Who are you supposed to pay attention to in moving your sites?
Yeah.
That's what I'm not understanding.
That's what why I would encourage you as a landowner to get the site survey yourself. And so then you have that as truth to push up against PG&E or anyone else. So I'd really encourage you as a landowner to do that as a first step, because then you're like, this is my land. I've had it surveyed, and you can push up against the county, PG&E, or anyone else that maybe says they have the truth.
Mr. Graham, you have some comments on that?
Yeah, just to clarify, I used to work for the Planning and Building Services Department for 20 years. We've, to my recollection, they have never required a survey. It's up to the property owner to determine when they draw their plot plan for a building permit that that's accurate. Now, I don't know if things have changed, but to get the most correct information, you want to call the Planning and Building Services Department at 283-7011.
One moment as you're thinking about your question, we do have one more announcement from North Valley Catholic Social Services.
Yeah, hi, I'm Joan Carter. I just wanted to mention that we have some flyers back here on the 27th when we were talking about our propane giveaway. We're also going to be at the food pantry, and we'll be giving away scarves, beanies, gloves, and other items in a nice little bag. So if you can come by and pick up a bag, I think it'll be nice little winter things for you. So hopefully we'll see you there. It's the 27th, and we'll be there from 9 to 1.
Thank you, Joan. Any more questions? All right. Well, so the rest of the day, so there's, as Mr. Moore mentioned, there's the ribbon cutting for the streetscape going right at the corner of Pine Street and 89, adjacent to the spot, right there at the corner at the wedge there. That'll be going at 1:30. And then there's just a tremendous amount of activities and events going on at the spot today. Mary's open. I know that Crush Bowl's open. I think the Way Baby's open. And so there's plenty to do and see, and I think our friends from from Rugged Roots Farm are here today as well to participate. And the Rugged Roots Farm, and what's the other half? La Sierra Food Project, thank you. I blanked there for a moment, but thank you for joining us as well. So lots to do and see today and great weather for it. We appreciate everybody coming out today for this meeting. And by all means, please feel free to contact me if there's somebody, if I can get you an answer from anything else that you were curious about with regard to this brief or anything moving forward in general. So thank you all very much and have a great afternoon.